everybody, do not take it seriously here today on TheCigaretteBurns, reviewing Land of the Dead, George Romero's film. Like all the other zombie geeks out there, I guess you'd say, I kind of had high hopes for this one. And, you know, high hopes for George. I mean, it's a return to the genre that made him famous, you know, and may not be a genre that he created, but he did bring creative ideas into a kind of a unique formula that inspired countless imitations. And there's been like a recent surge in the popularity of zombie movies, which of course means that major studios picked up on the idea that there's money to be made, so they started greenlighting them again. And I think that allowed Romero to secure the budget for this fourth entry, you know, the Living Dead series. There's going to be a lot of spoilers, so if you don't want to watch just for not hearing the spoilers, then I understand, just hit stop. But I kind of go into this one a little deeper than I have any other movie. So, let's get on with it then. Dennis Hopper, rest his soul, is kind of the prerequisite corporate greed character who exploited what was left of civilization, and he kind of elusively created this walled-in safe zone that's inside the perimeter of town. And even though there are no real banks anymore, money has some sort of value because you still have the poor and you still have the rich. And, you know, the wealthy are living in this fortified luxury building, and you have to meet certain criteria to get in, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. I mean, hello, gated communities much? Yeah. The population fortunate enough to be inside the walled city spend their life eating off of crumbs from the rich. I mean, it's kind of like a Aladdin-style story in a way, I guess. You know, I kind of relate to that when I watch it. But the real danger is when they have to leave the city to gather supplies, obviously, because the zombies are on the outside of this wall. And so it's a you know, rather hazardous mission that's carried up by certain members, certain forces, however you want to say it. A team basically put together. And they have a specially designed armored vehicle that's nicknamed Dead Reckoning, which, hella cool name, I love that. John Leguizamo is part of the team, and I've liked John Leguizamo for a long time in movies. In this movie, not so much. He's part of the team that imagines that, you know, Dennis Hopper is going to let him move into this, you know, exclusive luxury building living environment. And when he refuses, he steals Dead Reckoning, threatens to blow up Hopper's building, and asks for $5 million. I don't understand why he'd need $5 million when the rest of the world is dead. It doesn't seem like money should matter to me. That was kind of a flaw that I saw. There's more stuff going on, though. I mean, you look at the zombies and you realize that they know that something else is going on. Like, they're remembering what's happening from their past lives, and they're dealing with that. And there's one specifically, his name's Big Daddy, that gets pissed off about the way that the dead are being eliminated. I mean, they're being gunned down with machine guns and, you know, run over, different things. And he actually starts to show emotion by getting upset about that. So he actually tries to communicate, and in trying to communicate, he uses grunts and groans and different things to gather all these zombies together, and then they start to lead this march on this gated city. That could have been done better, I think. Simon Baker is also on Leguizamo's foraging team, I guess you'd call it. The movie suggests that he's a total badass, except he's about as bland as Unsalted Saltines, in my opinion. Just not happy with that at all. I mean, he's clearly the good guy. Clearly the good guy. You want to know how? He keeps a friend with him who's been disfigured in a fire, who everyone refers to as the retard. Into the mix comes the Asia Argento, who plays this tough, impossibly gorgeous hooker named Slack. Together they get pulled into this mission, just happenstance, to retrieve the, dead reckoning and to get Leguizamo to stop doing what he's doing. And it conveniently places them outside of the city when the dead march on the city. It was so predictable. Completely predictable. Bugged the shit out of me. It was so predictable. It's just bad. I like the way that Romero showed the way life continued after the zombie crisis. The dead reckoning truck obviously was a good idea. Finally, someone in a zombie movie realizes that you need an armored vehicle to ensure your own safety. Finally! They really haven't learned yet that you kind of have to cover all possibilities of being bit, though. They have the armored vehicle, but they don't have anything helping to keep them from being bit. That kind of... It's good, but it's not as much as it should have been. You kind of need to cover the exposed skin, Oh, anyways. It's like the worst thing I think I've ever said about a movie. Land of the Dead has absolutely zero atmosphere to me. Zero. The pacing is so rapid that there is barely enough time to think about what's happening. Almost no time for suspense to build. Almost none at all. There's constantly something going on. I wanted to see more of the outside world, the perimeter of this walled-in city. Instead we get a glimpse of this one little tiny town with all of these poor people that are, bitching about the rich people and how it's never going to change, which kind of happens all the time, if you think about it. And it just... predictable. So predictable! When the zombies are going to attack. You just... If you didn't know when the zombies were going to attack watching this film, I want to ask why, because it was so blatantly apparent that it was going to happen. It was sickening, I think. I can't remember a single shock in the movie. Anytime that I cringed, there wasn't even a jump scare. There wasn't even a good jump scare. I mean, you gotta have a jump scare. If you're gonna have a movie that's set up this badly, you gotta have a jump scare. You have to. And there wasn't one. I don't know. It seemed like the inevitable invasion of the safe zone should have been scary when, because of the way it was edited, it just wasn't. So I was pretty upset about that. Another bad thing about this is that it has that TV syndrome. Like, at times it seems like it's being filmed like Grey's Anatomy. Like, they have so much to shove into an hour that they have to put all this stuff in there, no matter how bad it is, no matter how good it is. It's just got to all be shoved in there. And it's just, there's not even a single conversation in the film that wasn't underscored by some stupid, vague, ominous music. Why? Why does there need to be music throughout the entire film? Seriously. I know I've said this before, and I'm going to continue to say it because it's bullshit. There should not be music when it's not needed. Overusing. There's a term. It's called overusing music. It takes away from the story. It takes away from building suspense, and instead leaves you unsatisfied because you don't get what you want from the movie. You don't get that feeling of something's building, something's happening. You get, oh, well, there's just some more music going on. And it's stupid. So, in my opinion, Land of the Dead wasn't scary at all. It winds up being very dull. I'm suspecting that since the movie was made for a major studio, obviously, Romero was working with certain limitations that affected the outcome of the film. Land of the Dead should have been a lot better. A lot better. And instead, it's just the anticipation of the film itself was better than what the film was. That's pretty sad. So, I did not, as you can tell, like this film. I'm hoping that the next one's better. I just could not get into this film at all. Sorry, guys. Don't hate me for that, but I hope you enjoyed my review, and stay tuned for the next one's coming up. We got a lot more going on this channel. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!